Yo ho ho ho, and a bottle of rum. Happy holidays to everyone. Thanks for joining us on this trip into the void where we're riding sleigh bells this time, my man. How are we doing with my I don't want to say Santa, co-slayer? Yeah, that's a good one. Co-slayer Chris. How we doing, bud?
I would be an elf. I'd be the elf running around with the clipboard. Like, we all know that.
That's true. I dig that. Yeah.
I'd be the elf running around with the clipboard. I'd be like, y'all motherfuckers, you know this shit's got to be on time. It is the 17th, and you are only producing at this?
Yeah, so it's a holiday special, y'all. Let's get into it. So the holidays always bring out a very funny, like, to me, I kind of have viewed it now as like I've gone humbug a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah. So there's a lot of it that stems from gifts and life and everything. And I think recently you and I had the perfect segue into this. And that's why I was like, yo, this is absolutely the perfect time of year to get into the thoughts of gifting, reception, and the whole world of like giving and receiving presents.
Yeah, and so it all started with you said you wanted to talk about presents, and then I was like, you know what? I am a notoriously shitty gift giver to you. And so this is what we're going to get into, because you claim to be a great gift giver. I identify as a good gift giver, but you don't use anything that I give you. So we're gonna or have blatantly handed it back to me and said no.
True. That one did happen. Yeah. So we're gonna have to Tarantino this quite a bit. So there's an elaborate history for gifts. And I'll start when I was a wee child. My ability to give gifts was amazing. You know, it's how you know a person. And then, you know, again, when I was a kid, this is when eBay was just starting out. Electronicbay.com. People can remember that thing. It still exists. It's actually quite prevalent for everyone that doesn't know. But up until then, when I was, you know, middle school, high school, it's you get to know someone, you have a rapport, and you get them something like hey, this reminded me of you. That to me is the greatest kind of gift of, hey, this reminded me of you. I wanted you to have it. It was something that, you know, we can enjoy. I know you will enjoy. So along those veins, it was about giving gifts, things like that. Now we'll fast forward a bit to being on ships. And I'm sure you can relate to this in some extent. When Jared and I got on ships, we didn't have a home. We weren't one of those people that like sublet their apartment or had a various places. Like we stayed in Jared's parents' basement, and most of our stuff was in a storage unit. And like every time we got home from or went to a ship, we would take everything out of the storage unit, go through clothes and trinkets, things like that, and repack our luggage to go back on ships. So for those years, we told people like, hey guys, we want like very specific things or no things. You know, we'd rather spend time with you guys. That, like we've talked about before, your time is a gift to us because we can't have possessions. We don't have places to put things. Then we landed up on land, and it changed to like, okay, now we have space and can start accumulating things and acquiring stuff. But I think our generation started kind of growing up of being like, hey, well, I'm an adult. When I need something, I'm going to go get it. Like, I need new boots. I'm going to get them. I need them like now. I don't need them in December. Or I need a new lacrosse stick. I'm going to go get that in the spring. I'm not waiting. And then like when Christmas comes around, I was like, I don't need another one of those things. Or I don't need like, and my sister would yell at me constantly because she's like, what do you want for Christmas? And I'd be like, I don't know, like protein shakes and like beef jerky. Like, that's a horrible gift. I'll buy that for you anyway. Why do you want that? And I'm like, because beef jerky is like a treat that I'm not going out and getting all the time. that's a gift for me. Like, I don't need possessions. And I think it had culminated when we started really hanging out with extended family, and they were giving like bad gifts. Like, I got a gift when we first started dating, and it was like my first winter in South Dakota where it's, -20. And she gave this, I won't say she, this person gave me a winter hat and mittens. And I was like, hell yeah, thank you. And then I opened them up, and the mittens and hat were for like a child. So like I put the mittens on like my 3 fingers and the hat on like a yarmulke. And I was like, thank you. Like, I'm being still courteous, and thank you so much. I appreciate it. I'm never going to wear this because it doesn't fit. And that's what kind of birthed this whole idea of like, what do you get when you get a bad gift? Of where's the connection of, no, you always say thank you no matter what. If grandma gives you socks and they're whatever, you still take the socks and you say thank you. It's not what you wanted. It's still something you can use. You're always very appreciative. And you don't want to tell a kid like, yeah, you can just, hey, Alice, if you don't like the gift from grandma, go give it back to her. And just say that's not a good gift. Like, you don't want to raise that kind of person. But like, from an adult to an adult, you can kind of be like, hey man, what?
Okay, I asked you.
I didn't really leave a lot of it. I didn't go anywhere. I'll keep going. So,
you gave me nothing to do with that. There was no yes and, there was no comma. You just waved your hand off like, take over the fucking train, bud. I'm going to go out back and have a smoke. Finish my sentence for me. Fucking, like, I don't know what to do with that.
Exactly what am I? You carry on. No, so that birth, that all of that is the backstory of me thinking about this. And for the past several Christmases, we have been like, what do we do with relatives that give bad gifts? And what do you do with those things? So another example is like the wedding. We even told people like this when we were still on ships, that please do not go off registry. We have very specific things we want. If you don't want to get us things, do not. We would, again, if you're making the trip to our wedding all the way in South Dakota, that is the most amazing gift. You've given us your time. You've spent all this money. You don't need to give us more things on top of that. And then people gave us like religious symbols and artwork and things like that. And I was just like, this is not something we wanted. This is also not something that we use. And we don't even have a place to put this. And even if we did, we probably wouldn't put this up because we'd rather put up our wall hangings. And Jared's mom's like, well, you still have to take it to be courteous. And I was like, if I gave you a bong, you're not going to put it up or put it out because they're like, this is not something that we would ever use here, kind of thing. So I started this idea of like, what do you do when you get a gift that you're like, hey, thank you, but this is nothing to me? And I'm still struggling with it. And it comes up every Christmas. Birthdays and other holidays like that, those are easy to kind of skirt by, but Christmas is like the big one where you usually get numerous gifts all at once. And if you're like, cool, I don't want most of these things, or like people don't know me as well as I thought, that to me is where you're just like, what is the steps you can take in as an adult to say like, swing and a miss, bud, but I still love you. Thank you for being here and thinking of me.
So what does any of that have to do with my original statement?
I lost what you said. I went down a hole where I just kept talking.
I noticed. My statement was, hey, Nagy, I have given you gifts in the past. Hold on, nope, let me finish this because we're not playing this game again. Like, god damn.
So that
I gave you gifts. I've given you several gifts throughout the length of our relationship. This wasn't just a pile of things that I've given you.
True.
I have, and I do identify as somebody who does give good gifts. I like to think and put myself into other people's shoes when I'm giving gifts, or I listen for that one thing that you said that you're never going to get yourself. X, Y, and Z, right? So I have gotten you kettlebells. I've gotten you audiobooks.
Correct.
A fitness book.
Yes.
And you've given me back a Gundam
The
that I
Gundam.
gave to you that you handed back
gifted.
to me.
It was still good.
Respectfully, that's fine. But as somebody who identifies as a good gift giver, I would like you to help me find the cognitive dissonance in our relationship with that.
And I had it, and there was the explanation. I went down the rabbit hole, but it was circling back. And I'm going to say right now, you are a very good gift giver. Those were very good gifts. So don't have any doubt, no gaslighting, things like that. Those were all amazing gifts. So the kettlebells are an amazing gift. I was complaining. I was like, I can't go to the gym, XYZ, blah, 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 with Atlas, blah. And next thing I know, you go, hey, check your mailbox. And I had to carry 65 pounds of dumbbells down a 100-yard hallway. But I was like, I remember like, damn, these things are fucking heavy. And Jerry goes, like, go thank Chris for your first workout, because I basically farmer carried them back to my apartment. I was like, fuck yeah, way to go. So that is an amazing, like, this is another line of it, is that's an amazing gift. The recipient not using the gift does not make it a bad gift. Okay. So that is those are all very good gifts. But
these are
what the person...
We'll go into each one, but go on that aspect of like what makes a good recipient then, since you're not using it. Yeah.
So a good recipient would be that you take it and actually use it. So for me, it was, hey, I'm trying to work out more. I have my excuses. How do I turn these into reasons to use them? That's not something that you have any control over. If I say, hey, I want to get into blank, but I don't even know where to start, and you send me the first steps, and then I don't follow them, like, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. Mm-hmm. So you did nothing wrong. Like, when someone wants something and then they get it, that, congratulations, mission accomplished. Okay. Mission complete. When they actually get, like, when it's on them, then it's mission accomplished stuff. But that doesn't have anything to do with the gift giver. There's no way I would ever even classify that as a bad gift.
Okay.
It's more along the lines of like, hey, the example I told you about, you got me kettlebells. They're super compact. There's a million different workouts you can use with them, and they do not take up a lot of space. If I said I was trying to get into working out and you got me a Bowflex, it's like, dude, I have no room for this. It's an amazing thought, but this is a terrible gift. So you hit that completely perfectly. Okay. Again, along the workout lines, the book the workout regimen that you sent me, amazing. I complained about not having the ambition or time or whatever ability to listen to audiobooks, because I write all my books, and if I'm not reading a book, I don't really like listening to it. And you're like, hey man, happy birthday, here's a subscription to audio or Audible. Yeah. And what was it? 3 weeks ago, I was like, oh, I can't find that audiobook to pirate. And you're like, dumbass, I gave you the subscription, go cash it in. Like, oh yeah, sweet. Again, amazing gift, bad recipient. So that's nothing on you.
Okay.
And there can't be an excuse of like, hey, like, Nagy, how are things? Like, I just can't work out. What about the things in your room? Like, they're not pretty enough. Like, okay, go fuck yourself, bud. Like, you have the tools. Now those are excuses. You're not finding any reason to do it. So I will die on the hill that you have given phenomenal gifts, and that's not on the person.
I appreciate you saying that.
Yeah.
So what makes a good recipient then?
And this is where I have the problem of, if when a gift is given, there never needs to be anything along those lines of like, hey, are you using it? Like, no, you can't seek validation from a gift. That's what kind of turns other things. Like, hey, Nagy, are you using your kettlebells? No, I'm just going to the gym. Like, oh, okay, that's kind of just unappreciative, but fine. Like, you're still making your own way. Like, oh, I didn't like those, I went out and got my own. That's kind of a bad recipient. Like, if you haven't used them at all, but you haven't found alternatives, again, on the recipient. But if, like, I were to start using them and then tell you, and you're like, hey, cool, man, I'm really glad it worked out. But you check in, like, you using them? You using my gift? Or using my gift to you? How's my gift to you? Like, you're just seeking validation. That's so that fair. Almost turns, yeah.
You should give a gift without seeking validation on the other side.
Of course, you're giving something this is yours.
I will say it also depends on, when you say you shouldn't ask for validation, it depends on the item. Like I was generally asking, did you work out? Yeah. I could care less if you use the kettlebells or not.
And like personal growth or things like that is like, hey, are you bettering yourself through anything? Like if the answer is still no, you're like, okay, it still might be a good gift just to show a person. Like it's more of like if it was a material item, like, hey, are you using the spatula I got you? You're like, I mean, when I need a spatula, I use it, but I'm not like specifically cooking. Like, no, we're just having lots of lasagna, so I can use my spatula all the time. Like,
I use it every day when I make eggs. You can always toss that one out, right? Like that's not hard to do either. That's not hard to do, right?
If you're using it, cool. But like, you know, like if it was post-pandemic and they're like, yeah, I got really into bread making, and I send you a bread maker, that's a thoughtful-ish gift. Okay. But how often are you actually being like, yeah, you know, it's not COVID anymore. I'm not making bread constantly. It's kind of sitting on my shelf collecting dust. When I use it, I want to, like, every time I pick up the bells on the rare occasions, you know, part of me is like, fuck yeah, Chris, thank you. But, and like, that's like what makes a good gift of if you're using the bread maker every time, you got a little taste of Nagy in that bread maker. Thank you. Like, again, small things like that. So the recipient, if it's a targeted good gift, it's on the recipient if they're going to actually follow through and do things with it.
That's fair.
It's more on,
That's fair. But I also think if it is a good gift, then generally the recipient should be using it every day. Not without the validation like you're seeking. Here's an example, back to your spatula. I know Nagy likes to cook. I bought him a spatula. I don't need to ask if he's using a spatula every day. I know he cooks every day, so he's using a spatula, right? There is a general conversational overlap that will cross over the two. And part of the gift is growing a bond with somebody so that you could have conversations. And for example, with the audiobooks, you love listening to books. And so to continue our conversations, how often do I ask you, hey, what are you reading, man? It's a common question between us. Have you read anything new? What happens? What's going on? X, Y, and Z. And you, same thing to me, you know, I'm reading all the time. So it's something that even though you're not seeking validation for the gift, if it is a good gift between the two people, it will genuinely come up in conversation, you know, of like, hey, you know what? I did get this one book that you got me. Comes up awesome, just like you're saying. But I think a good gift also molds that bond between two people and crosses your Venn diagram.
Absolutely.
Like you wouldn't. Ooh, here's a great example. You would, if I got. You would never want to ask me about Muay Thai stuff. You rarely ever do. It's never a question that comes up. So the odds of you getting me like gloves, slim to none, because you would never think about it, because you never even think, you know, like you don't even think about the fact that I do Muay Thai. You just know it's a thing that I enjoy. You would think something that we enjoy together and could share together. So in the same vice versa, if you gave me gloves, I would be shocked. I'd be like, huh. You must have knew I was looking for these. I mean, cool. That's awesome. You're probably never going to hear about them because we don't talk about it. Right. So I think there's more to it than not just seeking validation. It's the combination that makes a good gift of crossing over your Venn diagrams.
I mean, absolutely. And on that example, it's like, I don't think I'd ever get you anything related to Muay Thai because it's an area I don't know anything about. I can ask you tons of things about it, but if I walked in, chances are, you know, off the shelf Muay Thai gloves or things like that, where it's an area like, hey, my buddy said he wants new ones, and I get you're like, oh, did you get these at Dick's? Like, yeah, they were like, you know, the more expensive ones. Like, yeah, they're still shit. The cheaper ones, it's an area I don't know about. You know, it'd be like if someone who's never even played lacrosse tried to get us a stick, and they went like, hey, here's a fully made stick from Shields. You're like, yeah, this is made with shitty aluminum that you can just like bend in half. Like, I will never use this. Like, you know, they don't know about that area. So you always want to blend like, hey, this is something I know about or doesn't take different levels of expertise. Like if I got you like hand tapes, that might be something different. Like a lot of people, like that's something I would even put an educated guess. Like you might go through these a lot. They're going to kind of wear out over time. Here's like some in your favorite color, seafoam green, that I'm getting for you.
Yeah.
Right. So like that's an educated guess. That's something kind of entry level that I could try and get. You're like, hey, I'm not going to use these for a very long time because mine are not wearing out yet. But in time, I will use these because I appreciate them. So again, you have to have a certain level of knowledge for certain things to get them. Like Jared and I get murdered with Harry Potter stuff for a lot of gifts. And it's like, this is cool, but we had to like literally get to the point where like, guys, we already have like most of this stuff. Like, thank you, but just because it said Harry Potter, you thought of us, we really appreciate it. And this is another great example that happened at holidays where, hey guys, we got you this Harry Potter thing. And we're like, thank you, we already have it. Like, I'm sorry. Like, so that was where this, again, holidays brought up these emotions of what do you do when you go, thanks, like I have no need for this thing, but it's still thoughtful.
I think there's two parts to that. I think one of it is an outward trend in hobbies. If you send people Lord of the Rings memes all the time, they're probably going to send you a Lord of the Rings gift. Back to my commonality. So so again, read your room. If you're watching Harry Potter and playing board games with people, don't be shocked if you get Harry Potter stuff and board games from them. But I think that is part of knowing a good gift to a very good gift, or knowing somebody to be a good gift giver, as in if I knew some things about you. But yeah, I don't know. I haven't really gotten to the point where I said... This is
what has brought up the conundrum of like a great off-the-cuff example on this vein is I love Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings. If you gave me a Lord of the Rings backpack, I'd be over the moon. But at the same time, it's like, dude, I have like 5 backpacks already. I have my airline backpack. I have a backpacking backpack. I have like my day backpack, other things like that. It's like I have another backpack now, but I'm not going to use this for a long time until I either get rid of my other ones or kind of like find a new function for this kind of thing. Like that's a thoughtful gift that I'll try and use in time. If it's, you know, hey, I got you this, you know, gilded paged hardcover series of Harry Potter. It's like, cool. Now I have 2 sets of the Harry Potter books now. Like, cool. Thank you. And I've never understood those people that are like, that want collections of like the same kind of thing. Like people that collect Nintendo Switches or they have 10, it's a thing. You can look it up. People have
I know, but I mean, I think that's just being into whatever you're into. You can collect Pokemon cards. I remember doing an episode with this one dude, and I interviewed him, and he was like, man, I can't pick a favorite board game. I have 124 of them. And you want to know how many people don't have 124 board games in their house? 90% of America. All right, Nagy?
But they're all different. Like, I didn't get 10 copies of the same, you know, Catan. There's all the different iterations you can get, but those are technically different games. I'm not going to have... I really like Dice Throne. I have every single character. I don't have 5 barbarians so that we can all be barbarians kind of thing. Like that to me is kind of odd.
Yeah, but you could have 5 barbarians because one's a Christmas release special where he's wearing his Santa hat, and even though they're the same character, one has a Santa hat and one doesn't. And you know what? It's July. You want to play with your Santa hat one, and you would love every second of that. So same reason you collect anything, man. That could be
like if you gave me 3 different versions like of Lord of the Rings, like I have the big like leather-bound tome of Lord of the Rings. And I got it for myself to say like, when I start reading this, it is taking on the quest of reading all 3 books in one. I'm not going to go out and then get another version that's all the 3 individual books, and then another one that's the picture ones, and another one's like to me like a book you're putting up here. So like it doesn't matter if it's on gilded pages or giant animated pages. Like I just need the copy of the one book.
But that's just you, man. Different people are into different things. You know?
Okay.
We just interviewed a guy that also had 3 different Gundams of 3 different of the same Gundam in different grades because he liked building them in different structures. So like, I mean, it's just whatever you're into.
You just said it though. You said different things. Like a book, those words are going to be the same in every book. A barbarian with a Christmas hat is going to be a little bit different. I mean, I would even say you could argue like more people being able to play the same one. Like, yo, it's cheating when you use the barbarian. Like, fucking you be the barbarian too, then we'll see who wins. Like, that is even different than having various versions. It's like when I yell at Jara's mom, she's got 2 drawers full of utensils. And every time I find a duplicate, I say, you either give this away or I'm throwing it away. You don't need numerous of this, like, one specific thing. And like, so to me, like, certainly this is just the offshoot, but like, again, that's, if it's a gift, where can you draw that line? And this is a posed question because I've struggled with it for the past 3 years. And now that we're close to home and everybody's here, they're not shipping this stuff to us anymore. They're giving it to us. And like, that was the other excuse we could get away with when we were in Florida. It's like, hey, we want to send you these packages. Like, no, that's okay. We got it. You can tell us what it is and we'll do it. Or I mean, Amazon, you can kind of get away with it, but other things like that. What do you do when you don't like a gift?
I think you always be accepting of it. I mean, you know what? I'm going to ask you this because we've had this interaction. No, I am, because you have blatantly handed a gift back to me without even taking a step. I handed you the Gundam, you handed it back and said no. And then, so I'm going to ask you this because you didn't like a gift and handed it back to me. I can't think of a time off the top of my head, so I'll need a minute to, but here's one example between us.
So it's for everyone else. When I went and visited Chris, when we did those episodes, I brought my carry-on bags downstairs and Chris handed me a small Gundam set. And I believe it actually would have fit in my thing. And I couldn't use it. Oh, I'm sorry, I can't bring it with me. But I said to you, I appreciate this, but I don't want it right now. Because I was getting on the plane. I knew when I got home, and all the things I talked about in the episode, I knew when I got home, I said, this is going to sit on my shelf until further notice, because this is not something I can dedicate. I didn't go into all the details, but I was like, this is just not something I want right now. So my reasoning was all the things we talked about of me not wanting the time, the little pieces, building it, putting the effort, blah, blah, blah. So I just said, no, thank you. And it was just like, I'm sorry, no, thank you right now. I don't want this now. It is something I would want at a later point in time. And it's because of all the various factors. I said, this is awesome, but no, thank you. And so for me,
why can't you do that with somebody else then? Why can't you do that to your mother-in-law?
Bam, I can't. She's learned I can. So I would say I will do that to people that know me better, because they can I could give you enough logic to just say, hey, XYZ, I'm really sorry. You're my good friend. I know this is going to be a bump in the road. With the various parts of family or maybe people that don't know you that well that I spend more time with, when they give you something, you don't want to just be like, no, because, when you see this person every once in a while, when you only talk to them every time I go see family anyway, like the few and far betweens, it's a lot harder to just be like, hey, no, thank you. This is not good, because you're just they don't have enough interactions with you to kind of forget about it. They go, the last time I saw him, he was a dick. So they're thinking about that when they see you, versus when I see you, like, I texted you and we started talking when I landed, and we kind of just moved on with life. And we can go back to it, stuff like that. So for me, if you're not as close to someone, that was what broaches some of these problems of, hey guys, we haven't seen you in forever. We know you like this, so we got you this. We know you like this hobby. Here you go. And you're like, cool. I don't have a use for this. So
what ranks the standards of somebody that you can give a gift back to and not? And then,
I mean, dude, there's no standard on that. I mean, each person's going to know kind of what they are. Like, that's going to go to each person. for me, again, I consider myself an empath and stuff like that. So I'll look at you and go, okay, I'm going to graciously accept this. And then when they're gone, I'm going to give it to, if it's a relative. So a grandmother gives me a gift. I go, I hate this. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Merry Christmas. Here's a hug. And then before we leave, I go to Jared's mother. I go, here you go. We're never going to use this. You can find something to do with it, re-gift it. Like, and Jared's mother knows well enough. And sometimes she'll look at me and pull me aside and be like, if you want to just leave that here, like, she got this at blank, you can just whatever. Like, yeah, thank you. Like, so people that know me well enough kind of know those kind of things. But again, like family, relatives, I mean, especially like elders, you know, it's going to happen to me where, hey, Atlas, I got you something for the PlayStation 5. Like, I'm on to the Game Station 7. I don't even play this anymore. Like, damn, all right, I tried. Like, you just don't quite know yet.
So you're saying, I guess then what percentage of the time do you accept the gift or give it back then? Since that's the question that you're trying to ask yourself.
When it comes to the holidays, especially Christmas, because again, it's one of the, let's say with Jero's family, we go see them. Now it's going to be more frequent in Florida. It was like once or twice a year. Mm-hmm. Then 100% taking it all.
Okay.
But it wasn't just me. Like, it's a running gag at Jared's family's household that, like, her brother, his wife, Jared's siblings, we get together. We're like, yo, what did blank get you? And you're like, these. I have no fucking clue. And, like, it's a joke of, like, who got the worst gift. But none of us will say, like, hey, you got us all terrible gifts. Like so I want to try and educate them, but at the same time, it's like, you know, like, it's a losing battle. Like, last Christmas, they gave me some oven mitts because people know I like to cook. Thank you very much. And they were cats.
Yeah.
And I was like, I mean, I have oven mitts, but who can't use some more of these? You know, you have hot dishes, whatever, you put them on the counter, you can always grab. And the first time I used them, I grabbed like big glass tray and burned the fuck out of my hands because they're not good.
Mm-hmm.
And so I immediately threw them away and called my mother-in-law being like, hey, remember that gift that this person gave me? They were actually shit. I just burned all of my fingers, blah, blah. She's like, oh, yeah, they probably got it at like $1 discount or a bargain bin or something like that. So it's like there is a thought and a disconnect of whatever of, again, holidays. I will accept all gifts because thank you, everyone's thinking. But like I said, it's this reoccurring joke of what did you get? Like, oh, they got us, again, just random things of like how and why they thought that this something we could use. Thank you. But what the fuck? And so it's, again, every year around the holidays, I just think like, what is the best way to go about not accepting gifts and not being a dick about it?
It sounds like you've practiced it. Just hand it back and give them the X, Y, and Z of not to do it, or you just take it graciously and then give it away behind closed doors.
Well,
it sounds like those are the two answers.
Would you give a gift back to one of your grandparents?
I've never give a gift back to anybody, I don't think. So I think
so you've never given a gift back.
The thing was I once read a book called The Go-Giver. And it's all about giving as much as possible and giving as much as possible and giving away whatever it is as a gift to that person. And everything is a gift from somebody. And it goes into how to give a good gift, what to think, what makes it, what kind of gives it together. But the whole book actually really gets summed up in the last chapter when it says that one of the parts of being a good giver is being as equally and better at accepting it. Because one of the things that makes people want to be around you is how excited you make them feel. So generally think of when they're giving you a present, multivitamins, right? I'm giving you multivitamins. Why did this person give me multivitamins? Oh, they want me to be healthier because they want me to be around longer. I need to think of where it came from them, and then try to reciprocate that back. Because oftentimes people are giving a gift for an internal purpose to you to try to show something that they know about you or want to share with you. And so I try to reciprocate that back to people, regardless of what it was, even if it's some random book that I may or may never read. I don't know. It could sit on my shelf for 6 years. I try, whatever, but I tried to, if somebody came up and could give me a pickleball that they colored, oh, dude, this is awesome. Where did that come from? How'd you do this? Because generally the person is giving it to you because they want to interact or have a piece with you and share that moment. And that's where that gift kind of comes from. So that's mine. I try to be equal and reciprocating to every gift, as excited as possible. So, yeah.
So this just popped into my head. I gave you this Christmas, I go, hey man, Merry Christmas. Here's an elaborate egg decorating set for Easter coming up. Okay. You're going to take it, and you're only going to need to use it once in a while.
Yep.
And now you've got this big box, let's just say, standard 6x8 by 14, shoebox size box full of these artsy things. When's the last time you decorated eggs?
Never. And you as a gift giver would probably know that, because you know that I'm not religious and don't do anything.
But you're really artsy. You love painting your little figurines. So here's just something you can do with eggs. You're healthy. Everybody eats eggs. So I got this for you.
Okay.
You're just going to take it, put it on your shelf. You think you're ever going to use it?
Probably only when my little cousins are coming over, or I would give it to my probably one of my cousins or an uncle to use it when all the grandkids are over. And then every time they're over, I would ask for a picture of it and then send it to you.
Okay. So you wouldn't tell me that was a bad gift for you, but you're thankful and you're going to find a good home for it.
Yeah.
You would say that.
Yeah, I would say, hey, dude, first I would ask you why. I'd be like, oh, where did the thought come from this? Just to kind of and open that dialogue for you to say, oh, I was thinking about you because you paint your miniatures. This is an egg set. And that's why I'm like, oh, he wanted to tie this to miniatures. Oh, dude, this is awesome. You know what? This is super duper cool. These paintbrushes, actually, these are something that I can use. So I'm going to pull those specifically out of it. And this one looks really cool. So I'm going to save that for my set, because I knew you tried to tie it to miniatures, and that's where you wanted to make the connection between us.
Right. But you're not going to have any conversation of like, hey man, I appreciate a lot of this. I'm definitely going to use these, but I don't really do egg stuff. I'm not religious, so I'm not going to celebrate Easter, but I'm going to find it like just
probably not.
Taking the gracious gift, and
I'm going to take the gift and then go on with where it came from. That's the why, and that's what I'm going to find, and that's how I'm going to connect with us.
Okay.
If Atlas gives you a rock right now and he goes, hey Dad, I gave you a rock, what are you going to do?
We're going to keep that rock. We do have a pile. But I understand what you're saying. Yeah.
All right. You get one.
Yeah. It's more along the lines of like navigating those things of, like I said, taking certain stuff, but it's like, okay, we're all adults now. I'm 35. If you gave me something I don't like, part of me wants to just be like, hey man, I appreciate the effort. I know that you tried to tie it to our bond or something I like. I'm not going to use this though. Thank you so much. And then what do you do? What do I do?
I just told you what I do.
Right. So you just re-gift. Okay. It's just tough. Like here's another one. If I gave you like, Chris, I know you love working out, man. I just got you some ankle weights.
Love it. I would use them every time I'm on the jump rope. Thanks, man. And you know what? I'm going to send you pictures because I want to see you doing ankle weights.
Yeah. So one, I'm not surprised. I'm surprised you don't know how bad ankle weights are for you. Two, the other side is I got you these dumbbells and they're like 2-pounders.
Dude, that's awesome. I'll use them when I'm shadow boxing. I have these egg weights. They're only a pound, and they've been getting really
I'm
light.
just way too good of a gift giver. I can't even find a bad gift.
What do you mean? I'm too good of a gift giver? I'm a gift receiver, not giver. I'm a good gift receiver.
Right. So it's just it just boils back to like I don't know what to do when I get just useless. I can't even think of them because I literally just purge them. Like again, thank you, no thanks. I can't even think of what I've gotten. No, I remember. We got one. This is when Jared and I were on ships and we were thinking about getting a mini house. Because we're like, we can have a mini house and throw it in Jared's parents' backyard on their acreage and at least have our own kind of space. And one of Jared's family, they're the kind of people that are like, you look lonely this holidays. You're spending it with us. So they're these amazingly lovely people and bring everybody into their family. And then they come around for years and years. This woman gave us this like miniature antique lamp that took, like it didn't even take a normal light bulb. You had to find a special light bulb for it to like find the small enough wattage. But it was like antique. It was like 8 inches high. It was like glass and like almost like stained glass, antique-y looking with tons of like doilies and danglies. She's like, I know you guys are thinking about a mini house, so I got you a mini lamp. And I just like turned to Jared and I go, where the fuck would we ever put this like in a mini house? Because like it needs a 6x6 shelf to sit on. And then when it's turned on, it gives off no fucking light. Like it's not even a good bedside light, let alone like it wouldn't even have fit on the ship shelves that you have in like the bunks because it was so big and gaudy. So like that was a terrible gift where like the vein of miniature was cool, but this is completely non-functional. Like what do we do with it? Like what would I have? We'd said thank you. We appreciate it. It's hilarious. It totally would fit in a mini house. And we put it back in the box and stash it in our basement. Or I think it might be in the storage unit somewhere. Like, yeah, that to me is like mind blowing. Like, this is useless.
Well, I guess my question is, so back to kind of this gift giving idea. We're gonna navigate both these rivers at the same time. It sounded like if somebody was thinking about that, you were outwardly expressing a lot that you wanted to be a part of this mini house thing. So like, were you close to pulling the trigger? Was it like a relevant thing, or was this just somebody overheard one conversation and then gave you a shitty gift because you only see them and they heard that one conversation?
I'm sure they heard it through the grapevine, but like, you know, Jared and I went out and got quotes on like a trailer. Okay. And so went and did stuff, but like we had never explicitly talked to this person about it.
That's fair.
But again, it's still just like, it's to me, gift giving, there's never a malicious thought in giving a gift. If someone is ever thinking of you, if you are ever thinking of someone, this door can be shut because there's never a bad thing where I go, hey, I was thinking of you, this commonality, this is a gift for you. That is never a bad thing. If there was more of that in the world, there would be a lot more happiness. But to me, the malignant side of it is, what do you do when it's bad? So it's like the gift idea, amazing. The execution was terrible. And that is what I struggle with, especially around these holidays, where like if I gave you something and it was bad, I would kind of want to know, to be like, oh, my bad. Let me try and be better so that when I think of you, I take that extra step so that I'm getting you something that is valuable, not just, you know, hey, you like Muay Thai, I got you these Muay Thai boots. Like, okay, thank you, you're thinking me. They're 3 sizes too small, or they're 5 sizes too big, whatever. Like the gift was there, but the execution was terrible. And that's what I struggle with in the holidays.
Okay.
So what do I do? What's the, like, I mean, taking it just seems like if we can't educate each other, I guess it's more of a.
Well, nobody said you can't because you've done it. You're the one that chooses not to do it. You don't want to put that layer down and say, hey, this is a super awesome gift, but I have a 2-year-old and he can't do anything with it. Please take this away. You can do that. I mean, you know, like that's an outcome, right? And you could choose to do it. You just have to deal with the results of it. And it sounds like you don't want to, but then you just want to deal with the conundrum of a shitty gift.
To an extent, but it's everybody would rather just bite bullets than like
that's up to you,
reciprocate
man.
Or do things.
That's up to you.
It's bitten me in the ass too much when I've gone places and you go, oh, everybody thinks along this line. Let me say it out loud. And especially being in Minnesota, they go, yeah, you're saying the quiet thing out loud. We don't really do that here in the Midwest. It's the Midwest nice of you think, you say one thing and you mean another. And it's like, again, it's a personal thing of, if I tell you something cool, but, when I've done that, like, hey, I really appreciate this. I'm not going to use it, though. Thank you so much. And then people just like stare at me. I'm like, what? Like, well, you're supposed to just take the gift. Like, why? Who said that? Like, I mean, now you're just talking about like society and stuff like that, but that's what it broaches. And if the answer is like, oh, you just follow the norms, like, okay.
But Merry Christmas. Saying you have broken the social norm before. You've done it with me. So why can't you do it with other people? That's what I'm saying. That's an option if you don't want to deal with the gift. You could do that with anybody, You're the one that's choosing not to do that. And I don't know what to help you with that one because I've never done that to anybody and I won't. And I told you my reasoning why. So.
Coming from you, that's actually pretty surprising because you're a very off the cuff, I say it kind of person.
Yeah.
But so for you to just jump in that norm is actually more surprising than anything.
I wouldn't even say it's a norm. I think it's a layer deeper of the norm, right? Because I'm one, finding the interaction, and two, I'm finding a home and why for the gift, right? I'm choosing to take that burden on because you are choosing to gift me with said item.
Right.
So it seems like a fair trade
about just shouldering burdens.
Well, it seems like in my view of the world, right? I view the world pretty simply. Like there's karma and dharma. It's pretty simple. And it's a very easy one to just flow karma through, right? Like just keep that good energy flowing through just easy kinetic energy, Like it doesn't come any better than take this free thing off my hands, regardless of what you're going to do with it. It doesn't come.
And you've never had the hey Fisch, where's that egg baking set or egg thing? Oh, no one's ever confronted you about something you've passed on?
Not that I can remember.
Yeah, I guess it's more of a relative thing of, are you using this? Like, no.
Well, I think it's back to the conversation thing. Is people want to find something to conversate about. One of my ex-girlfriends, me and her uncle, who met at one wedding, texted each other consistently about barbecue. And every now and then he sent me barbecue stuff and I sent him stuff and we conversated about barbecue. So it was not uncommon for us to get barbecue gifts from each other. You know what I mean? If he sent me a Sour Patch Kids calendar
Advent calendar.
Yeah, I guess cool, thank you. I'd still find a home in somebody who wants the sugar, right? Like, but I'm saying back to the greater of where does the gift come from? And it comes from that general narrative to each other. So I think if you don't want more Lord of the Rings gifts, maybe don't talk about Lord of the Rings. Like talk about how Atlas is going to start playing lacrosse, so he needs lacrosse gear. And that's a gift to me because I don't have to buy lacrosse gear, right? Like that's, you know what I mean? You get what I'm saying? Yeah, I highly doubt anybody is going to just send me if you were to send me a Bible, that'd be wild, right? Like that'd be really out of the blue. And I don't think anybody would even tie the two together because I don't talk about religion. I don't say I go to church, oh, I was at Bible study or whatever, right? So that's what I'm saying is it's hard to get a bad gift when you're not putting that energy out into the world. But if you're back to your Minnesota nice or Midwest nice, if you don't want to have a conversation that's new about something with somebody. Hey, I read this Hell's Angels book. It was really awesome. And then now you guys are talking about bikes, and he's going to get you a leather jacket for whatever as a present because you've been talking about bikes, and he rides bikes too. That's fucking cool, man. But if I keep talking to him about Lord of the Rings and I talk to everybody else about Lord of the Rings, eventually all my Lord of the Rings pile up of presents is going to happen.
Okay, so I got you a Hell's Angels jean jacket. That says
Fuck
Hell's
yeah,
Angels
why'd you
on
do it? That's awesome.
Right, you're going to rock that?
I'm asking you, why'd you do that?
Because we read the book, we did an awesome thing. I sent you a full-on, like, I know your size, got you a jacket. Are you going to wear it?
Hell yeah. Did you get one too?
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not. Does it just say Fisch on the back?
It says, it's got all the emblems and the logos. I Google imaged, found one, and sent it to you. I put all the patches on it. I put the Iron Cross. I put the SS on it. I go, this is what the Hell's Angels wore.
Fuck
and
yeah,
I gave
man.
it to you. You're going to go rock that.
I would wear that in my backyard every time I was shooting my bow, and I'd send you a picture. I wouldn't wear that out in public, and I'd let you know that, but I'd say, bud, I'm going to rock this in my backyard all the time.
In backyard.
I'm going to wind up on Reddit with just swastikas on my back. I don't care, but that's an awesome gift, and the why behind it is even cooler. So, yeah.
I mean, to me, that's a terrible gift. Like, yo, this is cool. But one, you will get stabbed if someone sees you wearing that, like, out. If you're only going to wear it at home, like, cool, but that means it's just chilling in your closet. Like, it's just not a good gift.
But you know that, so you wouldn't give it to me. That's where I'm confused.
I mean, but let's say a fan, one of our tens of fans sends it to you. Like,
I'd say the same thing.
It's a gift, it's hanging up, and then someone walks in, they go, are those fucking swastikas? Like, yeah, but it's not for Nazism. It's because they were just rebelling against society. Like, why are you leaving? Where are you going? Like,
I'd probably have it framed up in our studio at one day and be like, hey, look what we got. And they'd be like, why do you have that? And I'm like, it's actually a Hell's Angels patch. And then they'd be like, dude, that's so cool.
I mean,
that's how I see it.
Yeah. Again, it's tough, and it leads into how gifting has really changed. Like, it used to just be like, hey, let me give a gift of a commonality of something I know you enjoy, blank XYZ. Now it's, hey, you guys need to make sure you update your list on whatever website so we know what to get you this year. And you're like, all right, cool. That's how it's changed of like, what do you want? I want one of these items. And then at Christmas, you open it up and you go, thank you. Like, it's taken some of the surprise out of it, but at the same time, again, we're adults, we're getting things. It's just, I guess it's the non-specific gifts that you receive that I just don't know what vein to be polite about. And I mean, again, I still graciously accept things, but the discourse was just like, what do I do? Is there any way to fix bad gifts? And the answer is no. Shut the fuck up, say thank you, give hugs, and then trash it or do something else. Like, donate it to Goodwill later. Like, all right, well,
yeah,
fair enough, I guess.
That's what you do.
I can't believe you've never gotten bad gifts that you just don't do anything with.
I mean, I generally just try to talk to people about stuff that I enjoy. I've gotten bad gifts, right? But I just try to make the best of them.
Fair. I mean, yeah.
You get what you get. Like, we've all played Secret Santa and got dealt a bad card.
I mean, again, yeah, you're not wrong.
And you accept it. You ask them where it came from, and hey, how do you foresee me using this? Cool, awesome, and then go about it.
I mean, I guess that's the best way to like kind of sum it up. Like, oh, thank you. What was the logic behind this? And then just trash it when you want. I guess if that's completely fair. It just,
Yeah.
Okay, I got one more for you, and you can help me with this one.
Yeah.
Holidays, tons of amazing food. There was a potato salad, and a particular relative made this. And I go, I know this is from her. Hey, this potato salad is amazing. Great job. Every time we hung out after that, I was getting these huge tubs of potato salad.
Fuck yeah.
On every occasion. And it was just like, oh, yeah, a couple times. Sweet. Okay. It's going on like a year and a half now where hey, good to see you. Here's your potato salad. And I was like, I'm the potato salad guy now.
Plan ahead, knowing that it's coming. My Aunt Dee Dee sent us $25 for our birthday to date. So you just know that every year you get $25 from Aunt Dee Dee. Is what it be, man. I mean, just plan ahead for it. You know, if you've got somebody that you know is going to give you deer meat because they get deer meat all the time and you like eating deer meat, then God forbid, say thank you and and eat the deer meat. And plan ahead, knowing that it's coming, and that's how they think about you. If you want to be the potato salad guy, be the potato salad guy. You could also be any other type of guy that's not the potato salad guy, but you want to conversate over potato salad.
Every single time, here's the potato salad. Like, oh, okay, I'll put this on the table. Like, no, this is for you, and it's just like Mondo tub.
Yeah.
Like, thank you so much. I will now be eating potato salad at home for the next week. Awesome. Like, all right, I will live alone in solitude of not knowing how to you can't fix it, so just smile and wave.
So do the same rules apply to your birthday? Or is your birthday a time where it is okay to gift back?
Those ones are kind of different because, like we've talked about, when you reach, I would say once you hit 30, I mean, actually even over like your 20s, you celebrate hard when you're young. 21, hell yeah, go out and party. When every time until you kind of have a good job partying, you're like, just come celebrate and buy me drinks, blah, blah, party with me because it's my birthday. Awesome. Now, if I was getting gifts on my birthday, no matter what, I'm very appreciative of them because it's like, yo, we're adults. Like, to me, if someone ever threw me a birthday party, like, I would be very gracious, but I would never, ever in a million years expect it. To me, you get to a certain age where I go, hey, it's my birthday coming up. And this is what we did is I would say, hey guys, it's my birthday at July 28th. It's this day. It's in X amount of weeks. You guys are all coming over. And like, we would have everybody come over. It was my excuse to get everybody for board game night. Like, you don't have an excuse to, oh, I'm sorry, I've got plans the next day. I've got this, whatever. It's not just a random day. My birthday is an excuse to give me your time. So no excuses of you having to do your errands and things. Your gift is my time. I don't want anything else. Here you go. And most guys and friends showed up with like, Nagy, we know you like tequila. Hey, I brought some chips for the dips you said you're making. They showed up and no one got me like material things. And that is completely fine. If someone did, it's like, hey, I got you this board game that we can play on board game night tonight. Fuck yeah, you're the best. We're playing it first. But I would never expect nor return a gift on a birthday because that's a very specific thing versus like Christmas where it's like, hey, everyone's supposed to have gifts. So I just got things. And it's
so
like,
you're
it's
allowed
almost
to give
like
those
less.
back?
Apparently not. Like I would, and I would like to, but there's too much social stigma. And I mean, the other thing is I've never done it like right away. I've never like, there's a group of us, we're all sitting around as a family. I've never been like, Fish, thank you. This is Muay Thai stuff. No thanks. It's thank you so much, appreciate it. And then maybe later, like, hey man, I'm not getting into Muay Thai. Do you have something else you can do with this? Or like, I would never call someone out. And, I don't think I have.
Okay.
I think it's more of like a social read of like this, it's not going to go well. I think you might be one of the first people that I've truly done it to. I've always gone and just like complained to, because again, we'd have to pack our stuff up from Jared's parents' house. And like, hey, do you guys want to bring these things over to the storage unit? Like, no, we're not using those. So you can take them or we will take them, donate. Okay. So like, the people didn't know about them, that we didn't like those gifts or things like that.
All right. So, yeah, I don't know where to go.
I mean, yeah, it's that's my conundrum every year of like, should I pull people aside and, hope for that kind of relationship where I go, hey, I really appreciate the thought, and, I appreciate that you thought of me for this thing, but I have no use for it. If you want to take this back, return it, and try again another time, or save it, do whatever, because, I've also, and like, it's so two-faced also to, like, if I give you a gift, you go, hey, Fisch, I got this for you, but the receipt's in there if you want to return it. And it's like, that's sort of like the, hey, I tried, but if I didn't, that's okay. You don't have to tell me about it. Get something you did like, or whatever, like, or why would you think I wouldn't like it? Yeah, I don't know. Like, it's too much of a volatile situation, and it's such a, thing by thing based of whatever it could be. I was just looking for answers on, the great yonder of what do you do when you get something you don't like, and how can you navigate those waters without causing, some kind of big scene of, or even kind of any turmoil between even close friends.
Yeah. That's what I got my answer for you.
It just doesn't feel sustained enough.
What else you got on your mind?
I mean, that's just what gets me every year of, well, that's a lie. I mean, again, like I said, it's changed so much that we have the list. So I really enjoy that. Again, at this point in our lives, we've even said, like, guys, we're all adults. We will get things that we want. This is your one excuse to get toys for our kids and his cousins and stuff like that. So that's kind of a free reign of, hey, we got Atlas this toy. Cool. I would never buy that. I absolutely hate it because it's a very musical, loud instrument. I hate everything about it. But it's a gift from you to Atlas, and he apparently loves it. So thank you so much. And as adults, we do this thing where we do kind of like a white elephant, where we all have our lists, and we have a budget, and you get one gift for that person, so everybody at least gets a gift. Amazing. Happy holidays. So it has changed. It's when people go off script that you're like, oh, okay, is there a way to navigate these waters? And I will say, some of the people, the reason you said, why haven't you just talked about it? And some of it is like, they're just like, it comes like pettiness. Well, I got that for you because I was thinking of you. Like, thank you is just not good. I'm not going to, like, I wouldn't say it like that, but like, hey, I really appreciate it, but I can't use this. Thank you so much. Like, it would just cause too much strife. So yeah, I just eat the bullet. It was just unfortunate that we can't navigate anything else for it. So seeking answers in the void.
Well, I mean, I guess I appreciate that you can have a conversation with me that's open and, hey, I don't like this. You can have it back. And you can't do that with other people. So, I mean, I appreciate that you can have that candor with me. I don't know
absolutely
how else to look at the fact that you just lie to everybody else. I guess. I don't know. I don't know what conundrum you want to take with this.
Yeah.
I feel like that's your own inner turmoil of not choosing an actual alley to go down and just be like, hey, this is how I'm going to do this for my life.
I mean, it's not like it's changed. It was more of just like getting stuff that you don't appreciate. Is there other way? Can we, as a society, start trying to do that? And like, if you get someone a gift and they don't like it, is it okay for them to start saying no or whatever? But like, what
do you think? Do you think it should be normal to say no?
Yes.
Okay.
But that's whether society and people will agree with that, or like I said, if someone takes it the wrong way and now it causes all this strife of, hey, well, I didn't get you anything because you didn't like what I got you last time. Like, yeah, that was last time though. Like, you can try again, or you can not. That's okay. Thank you. Merry holiday.
Yeah. I think it's interesting. It sets, but if you want that to be the standard of people can honestly say, no, I don't like this gift, then you have to be accepting of the outcomes, right? Because if you want that to be the standard, then you've got to set that standard in advance. Because yeah, if somebody does give you gifts and then you don't use them or don't want them or hand them back, then they're very disinclined to get you gifts in the future. And you're setting that standard, but you're also saying, hey man, I appreciate you thinking of me for this, but I'm not going to use it and I'm not going to worry about that. So, I mean, that's you also setting the standard of I don't want anything. So.
Right. Oh, I got one for you. So it was, okay. So, like if you got me there's no if, I got a piece of clothing. I think it was like a shirt, and it was like a small. And I said, oh my God, this shirt's awesome. It's the thing I like. Thank you so much. I'm actually a size large. Do you have the receipt so I can exchange this? Oh no, it was a thing. I don't have the receipt. Oh, okay. Thank you. And then, pass it off like, well, do you not like it? And I was like, no, I like it. It's just, I physically cannot have this.
Yeah.
Well, you should just take it anyway. Why the fuck would I take something that I can't fit in and, Jared doesn't want it? Like, what was I supposed to do there? Like, it was, that literally happened.
I think like, you set the term for the interaction. You said, hey man, this isn't going to fit me. You set that standard and said, hey, I can't wear this. It's not going to fit me. And they said, well, just take it anyway. Then you go find a home for it. Who the fuck cares? Right. Go give it to RJ. I mean, I don't give a shit. Like that's them saying they don't give a shit. Don't even think a layer above it. If they see Timmy coming up the stairs in it, then awesome. They said, do whatever you want. That's what they said. I don't think there's more to that interaction. I think that's pretty standard.
Yeah, it's just you're trying to take it both ways, and it's like, well, are you not going to take it? Like, no, I don't have a use for it. Well, that's kind of rude. Like, I don't know what else you want me to do, but I've like that's the level of kind of things, and that's where the gift giver validation, things like that, were like, it was navigating those waters, and that's a good example where you seek an outcome, it doesn't work. You go, okay, cool, I have no need for this, thank you. And
well, to be completely honest, I'm currently disincentivized to get you gifts because of you not using them and then giving them back too. So. And that's the standard that you've set. So I won't get you gifts more or as often or whatever that standard is. Because I'm going to be honest.
Giver, or was that me as a recipient where I told you that the gifts were great except for the Gundam? Actually, no, that was a great one. But
I'm saying that's on both of us, right? Is you set the standard of, hey, I'm not going to use these things and I'm going to give them back, and that's fair on you because that's what you felt. But that's also disincentivized me to continue with the items because you've set that standard, right? And you want that standard to be norm, and that's okay, and that's fine. But since you set that standard, that's what set the barrier, right? And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but if you don't want shitty presents, then cool, tell people you don't want presents. Just like on your birthday, say, hey, I'm having cardboard or board game night. Don't bring presents. We're playing my games. I want to do that. Very much like on my birthday, I said, hey, Nagy, let's read a book. And you were like, okay, let's do that. And that's how you gifted me your time. I didn't ask you to do anything else with it, right? Because I wanted that standard of, hey, I want to share this fun conversation with us. And that's how I met that dialogue of discourse, and same aspect of, I wasn't asking for a gift from you. I was just saying, hey, share the time. So you can set the standard with people of, hey, I don't want presents, and then they won't get you presents. It's pretty simple. But if you want to be accepting of presents, then you're going to occasionally get a shitty gift,
Right. But I mean, like, so on your example is, I love gifts. Who doesn't like getting stuff?
Yeah.
If I just say, like, you got to get a good gift relative to my thing, I've disincentivized your type of personality of being a giver.
Yeah.
And I go, now you say, oh, Nagy doesn't want gifts. It's like, no, I just don't want certain gifts. But that's on me.
Well, no, Nagy doesn't want to use my gifts or doesn't want the gifts, right?
Right, but I still like if you get me other things, it's like if you got me like don't, but it's like, oh, you got Atlas a bouncer. Like, fuck yeah, thank you. This is an amazing gift.
I
They're
thought
like,
about
hey,
getting Atlas a gift, but that's not you.
Right.
That's different.
Fair. Okay.
That's not you.
So
because you never said don't get Atlas anything.
fair. All right. So you like again, I still like gifts. The fact that you say you're disincentivized, that hurts my feelings because all I did was be who I was, and you've given good gifts, except for the one that I told you this is just not good right now.
Yeah.
So I've set a barrier of open discourse, but you go, well, now I just don't want to get you gifts. It's like, well, that wasn't.
I never
what
said I didn't want to. I said I was disincentivized. Nobody said I'm not getting you gifts again. I said disincentivized. That's different. There's a difference between now there's a barrier of, oh, I'm going to buy Nagy a gift. And then I go, oh, well, last time he gave it back. So maybe let me think about this again. Or me not giving you something. I didn't say I wasn't giving you stuff, but I'm saying now when I do things, I go, oh, let me think about this because he hasn't used or even just gave it back. And then so for me, that's where I'm like, oh, I do want to get somebody a gift because I am a giver, but now I'm kind of torn in what I should or how I should do it. And that was the barrier that you set up. And I'm not saying you're wrong with that, but I'm saying that was the outcome of this theory that you have in your head where you say you want to just say no to people.
Right.
So you have control.
Right. And it's like, again, if it's a useful thing, like kettlebells, still amazing. They're being used, not really by me, but they're around and they are on the docket to be used. Still an amazing gift. But if I tell, just like you said, if other people are disincentivized to, well, I was going to get you this, but I didn't because I didn't think you'd like it. Like, well, you didn't even find out. You just didn't. And so it's like you've changed your personality. And like now imagine that with someone that you don't really have a good discourse with. And it's like, again, it is a personal thing of like, yeah, that's some fire I'm going to have to walk through and it might work out or it might backfire. And of course, again, as an adult, I can be like, that's okay that you didn't get any gifts from me on Christmas. Not super important, but it's like, I would be more hurt if I said, hey, thank you so much. I'm not going to use this though. And then the next Christmas I go, I didn't get you anything because I was disincentivized. Like, okay, that's on you as the gift giver, not me as a recipient, because I tried to help you and steer you in right ways. And if you didn't want to listen and you didn't do anything, like, that's not really my fault.
That's fair. But that's having a conversation and discourse and talking with people, right? That's what I'm saying. Is if you're saying, hey man, Christmas is coming up, whatever, I know this person's going to get me a gift. Let's talk about B-complex vitamins because Chris really needs B-complex vitamins. So Nagy, I'm going to talk to you about B-complex vitamins and hoping that you're knowing me and listening to what I'm saying, you're going to buy me B-complex vitamins, right? Or at least something in that vein. And right. I think that's the part that you need to like zoom further out on is what's the conversation and the discourse that you're having with people? Because I don't own a home. I highly doubt anybody's going to buy me a garage door opener. That makes no sense because I don't talk about fucking garage door openers, right? Like right. I don't. But what do I do talk about? My bike all the time. So would I personally be shocked if anybody got me another water bottle? No. Not at all, because I talk about my bike all the time. I ride my bike. I got 2 water bottles. I'll add it to my pile. It sounds like another cool one. It'll be tall. I can do this. So I think it's part of also the discourse that you're having outward, right? Too. Because if I'm just talking about D&D, I need to not be shocked that people got me D20s for whatever.
Fair. But I mean, I'm not going to change my passions and things just because I don't like, oh, I don't want anybody to get the idea that I don't want these things. So, I stopped talking about biking around Chris because I was scared he was going to get me a new bike pump or something like that. Like that to me is, again, that falls not on the recipient. That is on the gift giver. Okay. If you're constantly reading it, if you're a gifting person, you're like, oh, these guys are always talking about this. I got you this. Like if I got you the Dungeon Master's Guide, And you're like, I already have this. Thank you. It was very appreciative. But my copy's still perfectly good. So thank you. So, like, again, just because you talked about it a bunch.
What would you do? Give it back? What would you want me to do in that moment then? Let me ask you that. Since you know my outcome is I'm going to be excited and I want to take it. If I personally don't like it, say you give it to me and I have a ton of issues with it, what would you want me to do with you then as a friend?
I think, like we talked about, like, pull me aside, or, like, again, if it's a group, if I gave it to you, like, hey, man, I got this for you. Like, do I already have one? Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. Like, and yes, I would be totally open to someone giving it back. That is a great thing. I was thinking about it for a sec, like, yeah, that is kind of, no, exactly like what I did of, yo, thanks so much, but like, I understand XYZ, but I'm not taking it because of ABC. Like, that to me is completely fair. But again, if I'm the kind of person that's like, oh, I'm going to take this knowledge and then, oh, I want to get Chris something D&D. Like, hey, Chris, let me see your Dungeons and Dragons book. Like, again, if I want to be secretive and still be kind of surprising for it, or, hey, what book don't you have? Or which one have you been eyeing? Or let me see your shelf. Again, now that's on the gift giver for me to get you something you don't have or might need. But if I'm getting you something that you already have or you don't want and someone gave it back to me, that's completely fair in my eyes to just be like, oh, shit, my bad. You know, I kept the receipt because I'm the gift. Like, oh, well, I threw away the receipt right away. Like, I can't do anything with it. Like, cool, that's not really your fault. Like, you can't have a use for it. You don't want duplicates. Like, and if I were just like, that's okay, give it, you know, whatever. Give it to someone else. Sometimes it's like, well, I wanted to get you something. I didn't want you to pass it on. Like, I'll take it back.
So you would feel healthy if somebody gave you back a gift. You feel like that would be a healthy discourse.
Yes, because it's building to be like, oh, let me find something else that you can use this for.
Who has done that for you then? Let me ask you that.
No one. People won't break those social norms.
Nobody's given you a gift back and said, hey, Nagy, change it this way?
No.
Interesting.
I don't think most societal norms will allow it. Like, again, it's, if someone did, I think it would actually, one, it helps me, like you said. It's not disincentivizing. It's almost more incentivizing. Like, oh, shit, I need to do more research of whatever to find a more targeted gift that you appreciate or need or want. But it would be a building moment for me to be like, oh, let me be better at this. But again, that's me. I'm the kind of person that I tell people, I go, hey, you know, I have a very extroverted personality. If it ever becomes too much for you, please let me know. And that is still a reoccurring issue in my adult life of like, oh, we have plans. Oh, hey, what did your plans do? Oh, we just sat and watched football. Oh, so you guys didn't do anything. You just kind of lied. You didn't want to say, I can't really handle you today. No, thank you. Like, that's more of a societal thing.
Okay.
Like social losing face. That's something that can't fix with the way people want.
The golden rule is treat people the way you want to be treated. So I think if you want that standard of being able to give gifts back, then you need to open the door and start it first. I think that's a great spot for you to go and maybe grow for this Christmas and tell people when they have shitty gifts and be like, here you go. Thank you. I appreciate you giving it to me. I know where it came from, but I have no use for any of this. So,
right.
Thank you for sharing your energy, but take this box of item back that I don't want. And there you go. I don't know what to do with my hands because it's yours. It's not.
All right. So that's a personal challenge to take on this Christmas.
I dare you to do that to at least 3 people.
Well, I mean, I can't count, like, oh, I need to do one more because of the dare, so let me find one I kind of don't like. I'll try and do it with any of the gifts that,
That's fair. Okay.
Do you think, what are you doing for Christmas?
What do I do on Christmas?
Yeah.
I told you, I smile, I say thank you, I accept.
No, what are you doing this Christmas?
Oh, what am I doing? I'm just hanging out with my family. That's it. Just hanging out here.
Were you a good boy?
I didn't kill anything hunting. Fucking, I guess. I don't know. It depends on your
like,
morality.
are you gonna open gifts, or is your family holiday more of just like a hanging out?
We do it very simply because we don't want to overwhelm each other with gifts, because we've had the open conversation of, hey, this necessarily doesn't work out the way that everybody wants it to, and it also makes people feel divisive because some people give more, others give less, there's price tags, yeah. So let's remove all of that. We do a secret Santa, so everybody that shows up on Christmas, on Thanksgiving, puts their name into a hat. And then we draw it, and then we all unanimously at the table agree on a price limit. And then some people go over, some people don't go over, and it also kind of depends on who. Like if it's the elder grandparent, obviously you can go a little over the price limit, right?
Right.
You know, like if you go over $10, it doesn't hurt anybody. But it also makes a standard and a norm for everybody of what the gift should be that's being given. Is something that is to that person that they then have to guess what is between us. So they have to guess who their secret Santa was, which means that you're giving a gift that is a bonding moment between the two of you, or something that they really know that you know that they would like, and they have no idea who it's coming from, because everybody would have gotten them this. So that's kind of part of the game in it.
Would you have an opportunity to be like, I got this from uncle? No. From Jerry? No. From nephew? No. Like, I don't know who got this one. And then you go, well, I don't like, would you have an opportunity to say, I don't like this?
It happened to me last year. It wasn't that I disliked it. It wasn't the greatest gift, and they didn't fit. Like, I got Muay Thai shorts that didn't fit. Right? Like, I just was super thankful, and I was like, oh, they get that I'm into Muay Thai, and this is a thing that I do, and something that we want to share. They got me a book, too, that I read.
Fair.
Yeah, so, like...
would you have this opportunity to confront them and try and do it, or are you just like, nah, this is not something, like, that's a discourse I don't need to have?
It wasn't I don't think it's a fair discourse, because I think anytime anybody's in the moment of giving something to me, I want to share that moment and see where it came from, because I want to look inner to you and see of where you're trying to share with me said thing, right?
Okay.
And that's really kind of it. And then where the present goes from there, those shorts are still sitting in my thing, or in my closet, right? Like, I need to give them to somebody smaller at practice, but that's where they would find a home. And yeah,
I was just trying to see if you
never brought up Muay Thai to me again, ever.
Yeah. Right.
Sorry, say that again.
I would just wanted to see if like this was a possible challenge you could take on as well, but
I told you I didn't want to. I haven't done it, so I'm intrigued to see. I'm intrigued to see what you have.
I'll see if it can happen. Yeah.
No, I'd want to see you do it. Hit somebody with it.
I mean, again, it's part of those things of, like you said, you know, now it's definitely eye-opening to say, like, instead of, I don't like this right now, no thank you. Now it's, okay, well, what was the thought behind this?
Mm-hmm.
And, I mean, some of it is, you know, even with the thought, thank you, I appreciate it. A good example is at our wedding, someone gave us, like, a 6x8 plaque, and it said a biblical quote on it. And they know that we are not religious. And everybody knew that at the ceremony. And we even told our religious in-laws or family, like, hey, this is not going to be religious. Like, I wrote the whole wedding script myself. We did allow them to bless the meal. And thank you very much. But someone else gave us, like, this religious thing. And I said, I don't even know if they were there. I think I was like, thank you very much, and put it to the side. And then a relative was like, hey, what are you going to do with that? I was like, nothing. That is not something in my world. I didn't need to I don't even think I could confront. I think that everybody had already left. But I was like, this is, like you said, it's in the closet. No, thank you. Someone else can find a home for this. So some of it is that battle of navigating, like, is it worth it to do this? Or is this the first step we take on a Christmas of, you know, I think a perfect example would be, like, we don't want to give Atlas tons of, like, sugar and crap like that. Mm-hmm. So if someone gave him, like, hey, Atlas gets a box of Pop-Tarts, I would have zero problem being like, thank you so much. This will find another home very shortly somewhere else, but we are not taking this because of XYZ, versus, like, a material item just being like, you know what, doesn't matter. Like, no, thank you. Because you can find, like, when you can rehome other things, it's a lot easier. But like you said, it's even me just trying to be guidance or whatever. Is it worth any kind of confrontation or not?
Yeah, I'm intrigued to see you have that conversation with somebody and see what happens.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to do it just to see what the reaction's like, and we'll deal with the repercussions together on that one.
Yeah, because I'm intrigued to see how it goes.
Yeah. Cool, man. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we hope you have a merry, happy holiday, or had a merry, happy holiday. And let us know if you actually did anything like this. I would be very intrigued, because I even think the several days after is even an easier, like, again, doing it in the heat of the moment when everybody's jolly and happy could be very difficult. But those days later when you hear this, you're like, you know what? I actually didn't really like this. Let me see if someone can say it. Let us know. I'm very curious to see if anybody else has the ability to navigate these waters, and please let me know what it is.
Yeah, we'll see you guys next time.
Is AB Fantasy, brought to you by Schnaggles. Hey guys, Nagy here. Got a nice little book I wrote. This is from my son Atlas, available on Amazon. You can order your copies. This is an alphabet book to teach your kids all the letters of the alphabet with amazing pictures and fun rhyming schemes. I was really bored of reading Atlas's books because they weren't entertaining, so I decided to make one of my own. But check it out. Give it a like on Amazon. Made it as cheap as possible while still making a solid $1.50 for myself. So check it out. It'll make the hero out of all of us while we learn the alphabet together. Thanks, guys.